Welcome to Conscious Curiosities, where we unlock the wisdom of the universe which lies within us. I'm Maria Luz, your host, an astrologer, psychic medium, and certified hypnotist. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. I am announcing that I'm ending this podcast after more than 2 years, but you can listen to the archived episodes. There are almost 130, I believe, and share this with others who are interested in learning astrology because there are many episodes on some astrology foundations. I want to thank you for your support over these last couple of years, and I've enjoyed knowing that there are a few people listening regularly, but I need to focus my energy on some other creative pursuits and on helping my clients. So I'm going to include as this episode what I recorded for my Substack, and I would love for you to join me over there. You will receive a monthly post, and it will be in alignment with each new moon. And it'll give some information about the energy as well as some themes to engage with for the month. I would love to see you over there. And thank you again. Love, Maria Luz. During the first couple of years I was in college in the late 1980s, I would take my lunch to the TV viewing section of the Student Union building and settle into one of the scratchy mustard yellow upholstered chairs, if I was lucky enough to snag one, to catch part of General Hospital. Inevitably, there would be stretches of months when my class schedule didn't allow me to indulge in my treasured ritual of sitting amongst other students in between classes, living vicariously through the characters on the soaps. The mix of work study, biochemistry labs, and motherhood eventually pushed soap opera viewing by the wayside. Yet over the 6 years it took to finish my degree, I would occasionally find myself with time to kill and would snag a cup of burnt Starbucks drip and a seat in front of the TV. It both pleased and stupefied me that months could have elapsed and little had changed in the fictional town of Port Charles. While the characters lived juicy lives, they actually moved at a snail's pace, allowing me to instantly catch up without feeling I had missed a beat. Over these last few weeks, I gave myself a spring break of sorts, a break from producing new Substack posts and new episodes of my podcast. As I take my seat again and think of the soap operas I used to dip in and out of, I realize I don't want to feel the way those writers probably did, creating content just good enough to keep viewers watching through the advertisements. Quantity over quality, adherence to the production schedule over meaningful work. I've realized that publishing on a weekly frequency comes from a mind entrained to competition and scarcity at best, and at worst, I'm contributing to the desensitization to stories of real suffering by adding to a stream that is already so full no one can possibly keep up, let alone discern the urgent from the important from all the rest. This full moon in Scorpio is revealing more shadowy scars to me. Under skin which already feels maximally sloughed off, I see a rawness ready to be revealed under barely healed new growth. What I'm aware of is that I could easily force myself to return to the pace and mindset I broke from a few weeks ago. What is revealed is that I am meant to resist picking up where I left off. Maybe I am like one of those characters who suddenly drops into a soap opera out of nowhere to move the plot in a new direction, only the plot is my life. Under this moonlight, I see the scars of entrainment to a culture that denies much of what makes us human. I see the false assumption that our default setting is to produce, consume, and accumulate in order to optimize one's independence, and how heartbreakingly harmful that lie is to all beings on Earth and to nature herself. These last few weeks, I began to see this image of myself as Sisyphus, with a plot twist. Each morning, I awoke to a giant rock and to the instinct to get to work on pushing that mofo up the mountain. Thoughts like, You'll be forgotten if you aren't posting new content. Or what are you doing with this time off? Or do you even deserve to take time off? What about the savings you are using to support yourself? Along with some quasi service oriented thoughts like, people may be relying on your daily haiku. Doubtful. One day, my higher self coached me to simply allow the rock to remain. I did. I followed the same advice the next day and the next. And here's the plot twist: I can make a rock garden of these mofos while opting out of the pushing endlessly uphill lifestyle. Something I've been contemplating lately is that the version of distorted masculine which runs our dominant culture asks of everything, to what end? When the question that interests me lately is, to what beginning? Perhaps this is a more divinely feminine question, to ask what we can gestate and how we may support beingness. What this full moon in psychologically fluent Scorpio reveals is that in the realm of beginnings, perhaps trust is more important than confidence. Confidence is focused on the end game, on winning some outcome, and confidence can be born into or bought. Trust is required to begin things and subsequently exists in the space developing in between matter, time, or space. Full moons are oftenly mistakenly thought of to be about extremes, which might look like me closing up my little production altogether versus doubling down on my ego's confidence to produce at a competitive pace. However, rather than jump to an extreme, I am simply going to shift into a lower gear and trust that this new pace leads to quality over quantity, connection over production, and a different way of living. I think it is important to be present for the real suffering that is occurring, as well as for my creative process, not just mindlessly dipping in and out of both. My hope is that my writing will prompt your own plot twists and inspire you to create a garden out of your version of Sisyphusian rocks. Look for monthly posts from me now on, with the next one to coincide with the new moon on May 16th and on each new moon thereafter. I'm curious to hear about what this full moon is revealing to you, especially about the pace of your own publishing and how you choose what to read any given day. So share in the comments if you wish. I'm so grateful to be here with you as you inspire me more than you know.